Hello everyone. A new day has come for me to stream. And today I'm kind of tired, but at the same time I have a lot of adrenaline, so that's gonna be interesting. Usual notes and usual things that I had to do, some of which were completed, others were not, and will be completed not during the stream, as I needed to fix a couple of things. So most likely during the time between this stream and next stream, the Codeberg repo for Terraform will be public, as well as the repo for Fedora CoreOS will be set to public, will be created, I have to say as well, because I did not create it yet. But anyways, I am happy to say that the small increase in gain for the microphone was successful. As in, it provided improvements to the VOD that was created. And I think I needed a little tiny bit more gain yet again, which is indeed what I tried to implement within this stream, or better, right before this stream, and you will hear it in this stream and eventually the VOD. Another thing that I did, but I will not be able to show you, is the removal of the API token from the provider file for Terraform. And that is the main reason why the Codeberg repo will be able to become public. I will need to fix a little bit the provider.tf file that is present on Codeberg currently, because otherwise from the history you would see the API token, and even though it is different, because I actually created a new one, I don't like it. It's dirty. I feel like it's not a well managed repo if I leave it there. Maybe I am wrong about this, but that's my feeling, so I will go with it. Moreover, I did something else and I don't remember what I did. Let me think. I don't remember. I will maybe remember it later. Our usual graph that had a new addition yet again, and all the nodes that were slightly improved, but just slightly, as I didn't want to dedicate, let's say, too much time to that, and I had a typo. But anyways, the video timestamps, as I took the time to review the stream and note down the timestamps to add to the description, which I have yet to actually add. So that's something that needs to be managed as well. but again, not during the stream. Today's stream will be dedicated for me to understand something about Zincati and the way to configure it, as my VM currently has an old version of the QCOW2 image. Old, not the latest, maybe it's the more correct way to mention that, which is not by itself an issue currently. I will be changing the image in the machine I clone with Terraform, but at the same time I also need to understand how Zincati works, how to configure it, to ensure that in the future I will be able to use it. Because in the future I will need to restart the virtual machines for upgrades, or better, to apply the upgrades. And I don't want to do it in a cumbersome way, maybe with a cron job or some other roundabout way, when there is a method that is meant to be used for that purpose. If I do like this, I have more real estate in the writing of the notes. Another detail that I just noticed. And for that reason, we have this, but we have this. So auto updates and manual rollbacks. I think in here, or better, I don't think, I'm pretty sure, given that there is a talk about Zincati into this page, that we will find details about what I need. This page may also be useful, but we will see. I might drink more than usual as well. I feel thirsty. Anyways, Fedora CoreOS provides atomic updates and rollbacks via OS 3 deployments. By default, the OS performs continual auto updates via two components: RPM-OS3 handles multiple on-disk OS 3 deployments and can switch between them at boot time. Zincati continually checks for OS updates and applies them via RPM-OS 3. Good to know. And in here, actually, near the end, we have the broadcast message from Zincati that tells me that there is a new available version that has been deployed, and that Zincati will reboot when all interactive users have logged out, or in 10 minutes. And that is what I want to change. This is, I expect, the default way in which Zincati works, and I don't mind that there is a default. but I don't agree with not having full control of when I will apply the new updates to the VM. So, okay, let's try to understand. Wariness to updates. The local Zincati agent periodically checks with a remote service to see when updates are available. A custom rollout wariness value, and we have the documentation that can be useful, can be provided to let the server know how eager or how risk averse the node is to receiving updates. Interesting. The rollout wariness parameter can be set to a floating point value between 0.0 most eager and 1.0 most conservative. In order to receive updates very early in the phased out rollout cycle, a node can be configured with a low value, e.g. 0.001. This can be done during provisioning by using the butane config snippet shown below. And we have the example. OS update finalization. To finalize an OS update, the machine must reboot. As this is an invasive action which may cause service disruption, Zincati allows the cluster administrator to control when nodes are allowed to reboot for update finalization. And that's likely what I want to change. But we will see. The following finalization strategies are available. As soon as the update is downloaded and staged locally, immediately reboot to apply an update. Use an external lock manager to coordinate the reboot of a fleet of machines. This is likely what I like and what I plan. Allow reboots only when within configured maintenance windows defined on a weekly UTC schedule. UTC. I don't like that sound, but we will see. A specific finalization strategy can be configured on each node. Sounds good? The butane snippet below shows how to define 2 maintenance windows during weekend days, starting at 22:30 UTC and lasting 1 hour each. For further details on updates finalization, check the Zincati documentation. Okay. Since we are here, let's read about the manual rollbacks as well. When an update is complete, the previous OS deployment remains on a disk. If an update causes issues, you can use it as a fallback. This is a manual operation that requires human intervention and console access. Temporary rollback. To temporarily boot the previous OS deployment, hold down Shift during the OS boot process. when the bootloader menu appears, select the relevant OS entry in the menu. Permanent rollback. To permanently revert to the previous OS deployment, log into the target node and run the following commands. Okay. Please note that Zincati will keep looking for updates and upgrades to any new available OS deployment other than the one you just reverted. If you prefer, you can temporarily turn off auto updates. Later on, you can re-enable them in order to let the machine catch up with the usual flow of updates. Interesting. I don't plan to need rollbacks, but as it is presented, it is not something you plan for. It is more like a method to avoid being in too much of a mess. And that's quite interesting. So we have this page that is Zincati itself, the code that runs the tool. And it is an auto update agent. Phased rolled out, client awareness, and canaries. Canaries are most interesting, I wanted to say. Okay, this is the specification of the butane version. Update strategy, and these are probably lock-based strategy, periodic strategy, time zone configuration. Okay, so it allows the usage of local time. Okay, it will actually use the local time. So if using local time, the system's local time zone configuration file, etc local time, is used. As such, etc local time must either be a symlink to a valid TZ file, time zone file, entry in your system's local time zone database, or not exist, in which case UTC is used. Okay, good to know. Okay, interesting. Not too troublesome. So, time zone caveats. Let me check how to pronounce this thing, if I find it easily. Caveats. Let's see if there is the sound. Yes. caveat. Caveats. Okay, so time zone caveats. The reboot window lengths may vary based on the time zone used, and it is not itself the time zone the issue, it is the change in the local times based on the what is it called, daylight saving times that are applied in many countries and many others ignore such changes. There are also countries like Australia, and I suggest you may look into it, which was interesting to say the least, that have different regions, maybe states, I don't know how they are called, that have different managements for that specific thing, that is the daylight saving time. There are regions, let's call them regions, that follow the change to daylight saving time, other regions that do not. And there are like 5 different regions with different choices. It's odd, but it's a huge country, so it's not too odd, I would say. Anyways, this would likely be an issue in my case, because my country does follow daylight saving times. So we change time during the either winter or summer time. But anyways, it's not too much of an issue. Okay, there it is, immediately. External lock manager, and this is interesting. Okay, basic strategy. Okay. In case of fleet of machines grouped into a cluster, it is often required to orchestrate reboots so that hosted services are not disrupted when single nodes are rebooting to finalize updates. Indeed. In this case, it is helpful to have an external orchestrator managing reboots cluster-wide and having each machine trying to lock and unlock a reboot slot with the centralized lock manager. Several distributed databases and lock managers exist for such purpose, each one with specific remote API for clients and a variety of transport mechanisms. Zincati does not mandate any specific lock manager or database, but instead it uses a simple HTTP-based protocol, modeling a distributed counting semaphore with recursive locking called fleet lock. In short, it consists of 2 operations: lock. Before rebooting, a reboot slot must be locked and confirmed by the lock manager. Unlock. After rebooting, any reboot slot owned by the node must be unlocked and confirmed by the lock manager before proceeding further. This protocol is not coupled to any specific backend and can be implemented on top of any suitable infrastructure. There is Airlock, which is a free software project which implements such protocol on top of etcd 3. A Kubernetes-based reboot manager is provided as part of Typhoon, and Terraform FleetLock DynamoDB is a serverless implementation via AWS API Gateway and DynamoDB. For configuration purposes, such strategy is labeled FleetLock and takes the following configuration parameters: base URL, string mandatory not empty, the base URL for the FleetLock service. This strategy can be enabled via a configuration snippet like the following. The FleetLock strategy is a conservative method which is biased towards avoiding service disruptions, but it requires an external component which is aware of cluster-wide state. Such an approach is only recommended where nodes are already grouped into an orchestrated cluster, which can thus provide better overall scheduling decisions. I like this. Let me write a couple of notes. Zincati. We have the FleetLock. So there are 3 ways in which Zincati can be configured. FleetLock connects to an external service, maybe. An external lock manager that decides when to allow any of the nodes to be rebooted, avoiding service disruption. After the FleetLock, we have the immediate, as soon as a new update is downloaded, it will be applied, thus the VM will reboot. And then we have the periodic strategy. Yeah. Periodic strategy. Nope. Periodic. Defined reboot window is configured and the VM will be allowed to reboot only during that window. thinking forward. Planning to have the whole cluster on Fedora CoreOS VMs on one small VM running the lock manager, the periodic methodology could be applied. I need to better understand this point. Now let's try to implement the periodic methodology, that is maybe this, another file, it seems. Yeah, periodic. And to do that, we move again into Z. And in here, you can see I worked on things. Let's close this. And let's close this. Router.pu. I will put it actually in here currently, even though I plan it is. So I plan to have a node for the lock manager. I expect I can use a really small node, so it's not gonna be an issue, in my opinion. And it will have basically just the lock manager. And it will orchestrate the reboot of all the other VMs. Another detail is that I will then configure an update using the strategy of fleet lock. We will see. Let's go. And actually I want to try something that is not exactly this configuration. We saw files. We saw in here that the contents can be a local file. So I will try to create a dedicated file for Zincati configuration and embed it in this. So that's a second way to have a modular configuration that is different from these two, this one, I guess. So in here I will write path, and the path I need it, so actually let's do this as well. Yeah, so etc, as usual I use tab Zincati config.d 55. Let me actually connect to the VM and let's see if that file exists. So sh core at 192 168 100. Oh yeah. Let me do sh. There it is. And here we are. So ls minus etc Zincati config d. There is nothing. That's an odd naming scheme for that file, to be honest, but 55 updates strategy dot toml. We go to contents, and instead of inline we go local, and with local I think I just need to write the name of the file, that is Zincati dot toml. I expect new file Zincati dot toml, and we will see what happens. And another extension dedicated to toml file. So we have updates, strategy equal periodic, and one day I will be able to write it right at the first time. And in here instead we go updates dot periodic dot window. So this, and we put the day if we want the day to be specified. Do I want the day to be specified? It's a good question. I think not. So I will go only start time for the time being, and I will put 0434. Odd time, I like it. I mean, the numbers are technically speaking mostly even, given that 0 is neither odd or even, but it is not looking like 4:30 or 4 a.m. and it is on 24 hours. Thank you for that. Length in minutes. I wonder if there is a length also in not minutes, let's say. And we go 100. I might need less, but who cares? And that's pretty much it. Now we go into the trusted console, cd documents, FCOS, test still. I will need to fix that, but I need to fix Terraform as well. It's okay. So we are here. controller butane pretty fast dear router.bu is the one we modified. Yes. To router.ign. I don't see an error. That's positive. SCP router.ign CoreOS snippets, and that's good. We can take this and go in here, and in here we find that the router was updated just now. It looks like I've been quicker than usual at implementing something. Anyways, let me see. I need to go into another folder. cd documents, telephone, cluster, telephone, and there we go. As you can see, there is a vars.tf and in provider.tf. Let me show you. We have this instead of the actual API token. I don't mind that the API URL is a local IP address, and there is nothing else that is an issue. But just to be sure, let's change this. And FCOS cloud, I think, yeah. So Terraform plan minus out FCOS cloud. It's good enough. And Terraform apply FCOS cloud. Goodbye, my VM, and welcome back, my VM. Booting. Failed. There was a fail. Okay, so this is there. Maybe there is an issue. I need some thing. Let me see. File manager. Let me see. System ctl status zincati.service, and we have loaded, activating auto restart, taxi code since right now, invocation, docs, Yes, but why? Journacity L, what is it, minus U? Zincati. So, starting agent, fade to assemble configuration settings. Fade to read, merge config from as fade to parse toml. Toml parse error. Did I missing field days? Oh, come on. It's needed? That's kind of annoying. Let me see. The periodic strategy allows Zincati to only reboot for updates during certain timeframes, also known as maintenance windows or reboot windows. Outside of those maintenance windows, reboots are not automatically performed and auto-updates are staged and held until the next available window. Reboot windows recur on a weekly basis and can be defined in any arbitrary order and length. Their individual length must be greater than 0. By default, all maintenance windows are defined in UTC dates and times. This is meant to avoid time zone related skews in a fleet of machines, as well as possible side effects of daylight saving time policies. Periodic reboot windows can be configured and enabled in the following way. And there is an explanation about the meaning of this configuration. Reboot windows can be separately configured in multiple snippets as long as each entry contains all required properties. Annoying. Days, an array of weekdays, either in full or abbreviated first 3 letters form. Annoying. I can put the time zone in this, in the caveats. Because reboot window clock times are always obeyed, reboot windows may be lengthened or shortened due to shifts in clock time. For example, for the US Eastern Time Zone, which shifts between Eastern Standard Time and Eastern Daylight Time, on fallback day, a specified reboot window may be lengthened by up to 1 hour. On spring forward day, a specified reboot may be shortened by up to 1 hour or skipped entirely. Example of varying length reboot windows using the US Eastern Time Zone is here. Odd. So the above configuration will result in reboots being allowed at 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. on every Sunday. This includes days when a daylight saving shift occurs. On the US Eastern Time Zone's fallback day, where clocks are shifted back by 1 hour on a Sunday in fall, just before 3 a.m., the 30 minutes between 2 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. will occur twice. As such, the reboot window will be lengthened by 30 minutes each year on fallback day. Yeah. Okay, so I need to put the days, and it seems I will put also the time zone, as it is more effective, it would seem. And let me add this. So updates dot periodic time zone equal Europe ROM, and days is such an annoying thing, to be honest. Let me check to put an array. Simple. And we will go with Wednesday. That is tomorrow. And Sunday. Oh, jeez. Not like that. And as usual, Sunday, I was saying. Interesting. Anyways, this should be correct. Now we create again. This. And if we check again, it's different. And we go here, and in here we need again to change this. And now we shall have fun, especially in here. Attempted the periodic configuration for Zincati. It requires all the attributes, I guess. All the properties. why it failed this time. Why did it fail? What? Did I put a typo? Oh, typo. This is even more annoying, but easy to fix at the same time. So there we go. Now it will be fixed. The exciting part is not that Zincati will work, is that all the properties here an example. I would expect it works this time. I would hope so, because it's annoying that it doesn't or often enough. And it started, so strategy property. Kind of strategy in use. Time zone. Needed to ensure DST daylight savings time DST does not interfere with the reboot window. Days in which day the reboot window will be created. Start time. "24-hour format of the clock defines the start of the reboot window. Length minutes. how long. So define how long the reboot window is starting from the start time. Okay. And we can add source and the source is periodic strategy. This. Perfect. And this is not all. Let me go back in here so I don't get a 10 from my screen. Using an external file table for the configuration of Zincati instead of having an inline configuration is successful. And this is actually something that makes me happy, because between this and the configuration using the merge of ignition files already created, it becomes a little bit more, I don't want to say fluent, but a little bit more flexible to configure Fedora CoreOS in general. And as it turns out, the VM did not restart because the configuration was applied successfully. Because if we go to systemctl status Zincati, up and running, found update on remote, that's great. But sometimes, not sometimes, but ls-l etc Zincati config, this is there with the configuration I gave it, so we are good to go. And until tomorrow night, sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but if you did, I apologize. Anyways, up until tomorrow night, the VM will not reboot as I deemed it so. And that's cool. Now, what do we do? Installing a package. By the way, I need more notes. No, these are doubled, and this in general is auto updates and updates strategy. Okay, so what if I refresh? Perfect. Let's add this to the notes. Other useful source. And let me see, can I ping? No. This kind of configuration was discovered in the butane specification. So, butane specifications. Quoting, and we get this section here. Copy. And that's good enough. Now what do we do? Installing a package. System configuration. I don't know if it's troubleshooting tutorials, reference pages, projects, documentation. No, system configuration. Compose FS. Managing the audit demo, setting grab password, configure time zone, node counting, I don't know what that is, setting alternatives, configuring WireGuard, configuring swap on the RAM, how to customize a nickname, standard SCE, adding OS extensions, setting keyboard layouts, proxied internet access, configuring user and groups, running containers, kernel tuning, Wi-Fi. No. Major changes, compose FS. Okay. Major changes, troubleshooting, tutorials, reference pages, projects, documentation, migration notes. I understand that it is not advised, but I don't care that it is not advised to install packages. I need to install certain packages. Prerequisite for tutorial, auto login, starting a service on first boot, launching a user level systemd unit on boot, testing Fedora CoreOS updates. config transpile. I think I will need to actually go there. Examples. Files, directory tree, file system, swap areas, looks, systemd units, merging ignition configs. There we go. This was what I did, which is interesting, but it's not needed anymore. Upgrading configs, release notes, developing butane. So systemd units. This example adds a drop-in for the serial Getty at TTY50 or S0, I don't know, unit, turning an auto login on by overriding the exec start defined in the default unit. More information on systemd drop-ins can be found in the system docs. This example creates a new systemd unit called hello service, enables it so it will run on boot and defines the content to simply echo hello world. This example specifies a systemd unit and a drop-in proxy. So example.service and proxy.conf to be read from local files at transpile time. The file paths are relative to the directory specified with the files, their command line option, which must be provided. Contents, name, drop-ins, name, contents, underscore log. Okay, so one shot, exec, install. So it would seem that for systemd units I cannot use the same method. Name enabled mask contents, contents local, there it is. So it's different in this case. Local path to the content of the unit relative to the directory. Yeah, okay. Drop-ins, list of objects. What are the drop-ins for? List of objects, drop-ins for the unit. Every drop-in must have a unique name. Okay, the drop-ins is something that I will need to find out more about it, but a systemd unit, I can create it maybe. I created some systemd units in the past already to, for example, well, it was more a set of unit and timer, if I recall correctly, to have an operation perform every so often, and every so often was something like every 10 seconds, something like that. And that is possible with a timer, but not with a cron job that has as the lowest unit the minute. So if you want something quicker than a minute, that's, as far as I know, which may be some limited information and not accurate, but again, as far as I know, it's the only way to go quicker than the cron tab. So I don't mind creating a systemd unit, and let me think. Yes, in this case I can do it in line, I don't mind. I have other priorities, and systemd looks like to be a top level. So systemd, let me see the example. Units. Name. Let's try to install NetBird. I can install it right now, I cannot configure it, but at least let's try to install it. netbird.service is the name. Enabled. True. Contents. Go contents. I need to go like this. And on the end we go unit. And this is the unit itself. So description. Try to install NetBird. Service. Type one shot is totally okay. One shot. Remain after exit. Yes. If it was explained, it would be easier, I want to say. But anyways, what do we need? And when do I need it? What do I need? A time machine. When do I need it? Doesn't matter. Let me think. It was probably some kind of joke from Neil deGrasse Tyson in some episode of Star Trek, if I recall correctly, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was an interview, but whatever. So do we have a wget? We don't have a wget. We have a curl. We have a curl. Perfect. So now if I go in another page and we search for NetBird, and we find this, and get started, I guess. Oh nope, that's not what I want. Docs. Let me see. Oh, there is Docker. There is Docker. There is Docker. So maybe I can use Podman, given it is present, if I recall correctly, Podman. And it is advised, given this is a possibility, I might actually use it. So, Docker installation. The NetBird client agent allows a peer to join a pre-existing NetBird deployment. If a NetBird deployment is not yet available, there are both managed and self-hosted options. Set the NetBird setup key environment variable and run the command. Okay. You can pass other settings as environmental variables. Yeah, that's okay. NetBird makes use of eBPF and raw sockets. Therefore, to guarantee the client's and the client software functionality, we recommend adding the flags --cap -add sysadmin and --cap -add sys resources for Docker clients. The experience may vary depending on the Docker daemon, operating system, or kernel version. And Docker Compose, I get it. But what about Podman? Let's see Linux. So this would be the command basically. Ubuntu, RHEL and Amazon Linux, Fedora, you need to add the repo. Okay. Coffee Manager, and install the packages, I guess. Some recent releases. The default behavior for lib app indicator was changed, so we needed to install GNOME shell extension app indicator and enable it. Universal Blue native packages. Fedora, Universal Blue, SteamOS DistroBox. Okay. OpenSUSE, NixOS, binary install. It seems that I will go with the binary install. No, not the binary install, sorry. The Linux install script I meant to say. So this is what I will add to my exec, I guess. Let me see. Type one shot, remain after exit. I will search for it soon enough. Exec start equal this command. Oh, I didn't copy it. I thought I copied. There it is. And there is this install wanted by multi-user .target. Okay, so first of all, let's fix the typo. I need to understand this and remain after exit. So if I recall correctly, I can go directly into the documentation here. Man system D man units. System D. Nope. Mancom. Oh. Okay. Let's do it in here, I guess. Or on my own PC, man. System D. Maybe there is no page for system D. Yep. So I figure this and I case is significant in searches, but I want it to be ignored. And we search for units. Timer swap path slice scope. Are we sure? We need a unit as I'm creating it. I have no idea. Units are named after their configuration file. Some units have special semantics. Not too interested in that. May request. Let's try to find this. Okay. This is freaking long, but in here we find see also system D. Okay, systemctl, systemd.unit is what I need. Maybe in here wanted by, there we go. Let's enlarge it. Okay, forward and reverse unit properties. Install section wanted by. Not wanted by and these other are used in the install section to create symlinks in .once, .requires and .upholds directories. They cannot be used directly as a unit configuration setting. I'm not too sure what that means. Okay, install section. Unit files may include an install section, which carries installation information for the unit. This section is not interpreted by systemd during runtime. It is used by the enable and disable commands of the systemctl tool during installation of a unit. This option may be used more than once, or a space-separated list of unit names may be given. A symbolic link is created in the .once, .requires, or .upholds directory of each of the listed units when this unit is installed by systemctl enable. This has the effect of a dependency of type once, requires, or upholds being added from the listed unit to the current unit. See the description of the mentioned dependency types in the unit section for details. In case of template units listing non-template units, the listing unit must have default instance set or systemctl enable must be called with an instance name. The instance default or specified will be added to list of the listed units. For example, wanted by getty.target in a service getty@service will result in systemctl enable getty at tty2.service, creating a getty.target.once getty at tty2.service link to the getty at service. This also applies to listing specific instances of templated units. The specific instance will gain the dependency. A template unit may also list a template unit, in which case a generic dependency will be added, where each instance of the listing unit will have a dependency on an instance of the listed template with the same instance value. For example, wanted by container at.target in a service monitor at.service will result in systemctl enable monitor at.service, creating a container.target once monitor at service link to monitor at service, which applies to all instances of container.target, added in version 2.01. Okay. Oh, yeah, this one. Example, allowing units to be enabled. The following snippet, highlighted, allows a unit full.service to be enabled via systemctl enable. After running systemctl enable, a symlink linking to the actual unit will be created. It tells systemd to pull in the unit when starting multi-user.target. The inverse systemctl disable will remove that symlink again. Okay, so maybe I understood this multi-user.target. Okay, example 2, overriding vendor settings. There are two methods of overriding vendor settings in unit files. Copying the unit file from user lib systemd system to etc systemd system and modifying the chosen settings. Alternatively, one can create a directory named unit.d within etc systemd system and place a drop-in file name .conf there that only changes the specific settings one is interested in. Note that multiple such drop-in files are read if present, processed in lexicographic order of their file name. The advantage of the first method is that one easily overrides the complete unit. The vendor unit is not parsed at all anymore. It has the disadvantage that improvements to the unit file by the vendor are not automatically incorporated or on updates. Fair enough. The advantage of the second method is that one only overrides the settings one specifically wants, where updates to the unit by the vendor automatically apply. This has the disadvantage that some future updates by the vendor might be incompatible with the local changes. Fair enough. This also applies for user instances of systemd, but with different location for the unit files. See section of unit load path for for further details. So suppose there is a vendor supplied unit userlib systemd system httpd dot service with the following contents. Now one wants to change some setting as an administrator. First, in the local setup, serve.webserver srv slash web server might not exist because the HTTP server is configured to use srv www instead. Okay. The first possibility is to copy the unit file to etc systemd system httpd.service and change the chosen settings. Alternatively, the administrator could create a drop-in file etc systemd system httpd service.d local.conf with the following contents. Okay. Okay, there is nothing else about that, but I kind of understood. So this makes it so when this starts, if I understood correctly, it will trigger this unit to start as well. Let me search for the information in plain terms, because honestly this documentation is kind of so multi-user .target is basically the closest equivalent to of classic sysv init run level 3. The systemd has, when a systemd system boots up, systemd is trying to make the system state match the state specified by default.target, which is usually an alias for either graphical.target or multi-user.target. Multi-user.target normally defines a system state where all network services are started up, and the system will accept logins, but a local GUI is not started. This is the typical default system state for server systems, which might be rack-mounted, headless system in a remote server room. Okay, graphical.target, I don't care. The line wanted by in a service is essentially the same as specifying this service should start in run levels 3, 4, and 5 in sysv init systems. It tells systemd that this service should be started as part of normal system startup, whether or not a local GUI is active. However, wanted by is separate from the enable disable state, so in another sense it's sort of a preset. It determines under what condition the automatic start may happen, but only when the service is enabled in the first place. Okay, I need to search for exec because after the installation, I don't know if I can put exec start multiple times. Okay, yes, pass. It seems only once, but it's not in here. this is the first one. Okay, note that for dropping files, if one wants to remove entries from a setting that is passed as a list, such as exec in service units, one needs to first clear the list before re-adding. Yeah, that's, I don't know. Do I need the creation of that bird and then I can enable it, or can I enable it now? So there is a remain after exit that I need to understand, but also, oh, look at this, exec start. There are two. So I can put multiple exec starts, it seems. Don't mind if I do. Because I don't remember honestly if the installation enables it, but look, I don't see any reason why not trying. Cool. And let's go. Maybe I find that it doesn't work. Signing key not found. Wow. This connectivity sucks. Come on. Come on. Let me search for something else in the meantime, to be honest, because I might get a little bit angry if I don't. Okay, not this, but it's this. This is not in here. But in here we have system D, system CTL, system D, system config, special service, maybe service. This is system D unit. Let me check. Service. Yep. Okay. Behavior of one shot is similar to exec. However, the service manager will consider the unit up after the main process exits. It will then start follow-up units. Remain after exit is particularly useful for this type of service. Type one shot is the implied default. If neither type nor exec start are specified, note that if this option is used without remain after exit, the service will never enter active unit state, but will directly transition from activating to deactivating or dead, since no process is configured that shall run continuously. In particular, this means that after a service of the time run, which has not set, it will not show up as started afterwards, but as dead. So I don't need it as yes, it seems. Takes a boolean value that specifies whether the service shall be considered active even when all its processes exited, defaults to no. So I can ignore it. This guy is halfway there, not really living on a prayer. Exact start. Unless type on shot exactly one command must be given. When type on shot is used, the setting may be used multiple times to define multiple commands to execute. Yeah! So I found also this that is kind of incorrect. Maybe? Okay. 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 In case I had the possibility to use this kind of guys. Anyways, let me try to add another exact start. Equal system ctl enable now. What is it? Netbird dot service. I don't remember. Let me check. Let me check in here. System status netbird. There it is. Netbird.service. Loaded. Preset disabled. So I need it. Let me see if I don't see any information. But anyways. Come on. So anyways, this, this is not this kind of thing. I can also do this, so I'm ready to have it work. We'll wait a couple of minutes because it's not an issue. And then I will actually see what happens. And maybe I need to add some GPG signature, otherwise I will focus on trying to make it work on Podman or on Docker if I need to. Although it will be annoying, I want to say, at the very least. And I have no idea why it's going so slow. Let me check. Okay, it's doing something. Porting OpenPGP. Oh, okay. It's not an issue that the thing is. Okay, to the size of inbound packages is 30 megabytes. Need to download 13 megabytes. After operation, 34 megabytes will be used. Error. The boot C system is configured to be read-only. For more information, run boot C. Obviously, but it's not an issue because maybe I can do it with the systemd as I tried. I forgot. But in theory I should be able to install things in some way. Let's try and let's see what happens. I don't have any idea on top of it. So try to install NetBird using a system unit. Manually tried as well. I guess I forgot it's an immutable distro, therefore I got an error. Strange, isn't it? Anyways, this is the unit, the service unit, the systemd unit added to the butane file. Let's do this. And Zincati. Nope. And this. Thank you. And now we go back in here, or better, in here, I guess. Yeah. This. Plan and Terraform apply, and now let's see how it explodes in a bad way, so I can learn things. Someone is watching and they are silent. Well, whoever it is, welcome to the stream, and feel free to say anything you want. What? Funny enough. It's doing things, it did things. Let's see. Oh, failed units 1. So there is an issue. And let me think. Like this. Oh, wow. Main process exited, status not configured. So, failed with execute. I think it starts too soon. Curl could not resolve. Okay, curl 6 could not resolve. Man, curl Oh, yeah, wrong place. Man curl. I don't like to do it there. Man curl. In here. Exit. Exit code, the numerical exit code to transfer. That's great, but I want the list of exit codes, and there it is. 6. Could not resolve hosts. The given remote hosts could not be resolved. Okay. Let me think. Let me think. I think I'm starting it too soon. And I wanted by can be configured with multiple values. So can we see systemctl status curl? Nope. It's not. It does not have a system unit. I wish. I wanted to, if it had a unit, I wanted to kind of tail my unit to curl, but it doesn't seem to be a possibility. List units. List. Do I need to be root for this? No. Curl doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. How does it start? How does it start? So the issue is this one. Could not resolve hosts. Wait a minute. Register netbird. Could not resolve the hosts. Let me check a little bit the command. Curl, and this is the hosts. And then this and this are seen as hosts. Let me find. This. Okay, hello world. Minus user bin getty. Pipe. Could it be the pipe is a bad thing in a unit? Yeah, system docs. It's not an issue. So pipe. So if multiple conditions are specified, the unit will be executed if all of them apply. Condition check can use a pipe symbol after the equal sign. Okay, but this seems to be only for the condition. So exec systemd exec. That can be a good page to check. Exec pipe. Ignore sig pipe. Takes a boolean argument. If it's true, sig pipe is ignored in the executed process. Defaults to true since sig pipe is generally only useful in shell pipelines. I think this is the issue. Sig pipe. What is sig pipe? Pipes. Unix pipe. Standard input. Huh. Okay, doesn't seem the correct thing. There is a sig pipe, so let's check, not in this page, but this page. Sig pipe. It's a signal. It's not pipe. Okay. Okay. Your example is using FIFO and not a pipe. So it's subject to FIFO. Pipe also has a FIFO, short for first in first out, has a name within the file system created using make mk FIFO and is opened using open. Any process may open a FIFO. So before both, the simplest way to end a sig pipe from your own C code, if you don't want it to die when writing a FIFO, we consign a sig pipe sig ign ign and handle it by checking for R number e pipe. Yeah, but that is programming. The pipe, because the only difference between pipes and FIFO is the manner in which they are created and open. So for this behavior, it really doesn't matter which one it is, except that it's easier to do this experiment with a FIFO. So wait a minute. If all descriptors referring to the read end of a pipe have been closed, then write will be cause a sig pipe signal to be generated for the calling process. thank you, but I need more information about sig pipe. So man, what was it, 5 pipe? 7 pipe. Man pipe. Nice. A pipe is created using pipe. Two. Sig pipe. Okay, so in here, if I go pipe again, ignore sig pipe. The first two true since sig pipes are not useful in shell pipelines. So it should be alright. And the issue is not in this, because well, it was not in that definitely, but it's somewhere and I don't understand exactly where. I could wrap the exec in double quotes, the exec start command in double quotes. System the unit exec start command and double quotes. I don't know if it makes sense. Seems that no. No, because no. No, because no. This is 10 years old, so I don't know if I have any time, not any time, past year. Exact start, okay. I'm basically downloading and then executing, but it seems that even the download is broken. Yeah, that's alright. It's not, okay, let's go in a raw, annoying way to search for issues. Yeah. Comprehensive guide, understand the IP source names, IP addresses, and DNS. Source names, the foundation IP address, the translator domain name, system DNS. So again, maybe I'm likely starting too soon. Yes. It is there. I already tried. Inspect your DNS configuration. As I said, I am trying to connect to the internet too soon, so maybe the message. So -e. Yeah, I don't care. The message -t. Let's see if there is something. Less, and let's search for netbuild. Yep. Thank you. Okay, writing unit. Finish writing unit, finish processor unit, finish ignition files, service ignition files. Have to boon. Yeah. Huh. Too soon. Because if I go down, let me see, network. This is the one I need. So I need to quickly, let me edit this, and it was like saying that I want to buy, let me search because I wanted to buy multiple targets Linux. Yes. Maybe after could be the one that I need. Service. Let's see. After. It's not here. Maybe it's here. After. So this is gonna be used. Okay, give me a second. Automatically when a unit is referenced for the first time, unload the unit configuration. The unit is not needed anymore. A unit may be referenced through a number of different mechanisms. Before after, okay. These two settings spreads a space, separate a list of unit names. They may be specified more than once, in which case dependencies for all listed names are created. An example, can I put network, what was it? Network.target. Let's try. Where is it put? It is put. Let me think. In the service. I can think how much, whatever I want, but if I don't know, I don't know. Okay. Exec, I think, given. After network dot target too used to it, and then we go again in here, butane recipe, and we go into, I don't know if I go like this, what happens? Nope. I need to change something. In this. Again. Now we have it correctly. The telephone thing, not the thing I actually want to do. Let me see if, first of all, if it's correct. Second, if it's working. And I get the thing installed. If I did, maybe it's good. If I didn't, yeah, I will figure it out eventually. Okay, connecting, doing things, whatever. There was a fail, and I expect that was it. And we can just do journalctl minus u net, and maybe I will call it a different name. Monkey after instructions. Oh, it doesn't go there. It goes in install maybe. Ah, Jesus. System unit. Where does it go? I'm not a robot. That's a new one for me. Thank you, I guess. I don't see where it goes, but maybe it's... Yeah, but where, in which section of which section, I guess, and tree type in the unit section. And I put it not in the unit section. Okay. Last quick change. Thank you. And let's go, I guess. This. Quick change. Let's see what happens. It will not work, maybe. Or maybe it will. If it will, it's a good start. If it doesn't, it's a good start anyways, because I understood some way in which it doesn't work. Let's see. Yeah, failed. that's totally okay, because there is journalctl. Same error as before, so not a good way to install, it seems. I might look into the let me think. I might look into the Docker way or Podman instead, but I will eventually need to install things directly somehow using systemd. So I will need to figure this out. I'm doing something in the wrong way. That's okay. I will do some research. So anyways, I'm really tired. I went longer than usual, and it was a great stream as usual. I didn't write that many notes, but that's because I didn't implement too much, as this was quite complex and the error I had here was silly. Anyways, thank you for watching and have a good one.